and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be talking about some tropes and things in books that I hate. Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome or welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to Trope Week. We did it, guys. If you guys didn't know, I have been uploading a video every single day this week where I pick a specific trope and give you a recommendation video on it. We've already done 6 videos, so this week is coming to a close. I will leave the playlist down below because I did so many tropes. I talked about submissive heroes, I talked about the trope of brothers best friends, a series that I've done on my channel before, so again, I will leave the playlist down below if you want to check it out. But today I thought we would switch it up, and instead of picking a specific trope, I'm going to be talking about tropes that I hate, that I don't like to read in books, things that I avoid, things that typically just, you know, don't do it for me. But there is always an exception to a rule, and I don't like being negative on my channel. I really don't. I don't like talking about books that I hate. It's not that I don't mind giving a book a 1-star or a 2-star rating. Like, I will absolutely give it a low rating if I didn't like it. So I'm going to be talking about tropes that I absolutely hate. That doesn't mean I hate every single book with this trope. It just means in general, I don't tend to gravitate towards it. And since there is an exception to every rule, I'm actually going to be giving recommendations for each trope I don't like, and I'm going to be talking about books that I think actually did it well and surprised me, and even though they had a trope I didn't like, I still enjoyed the book. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. This is more of a chatty video, kind of closing this series. I hope you guys enjoyed the videos so far, and if there are some tropes that you don't like in books, please let me know. Let's have a conversation in the comments down below, and we're just gonna hop right in. Right, so the first trope that I do not like, and I think this is a pretty popular opinion among the romance community, and that is cheating. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. There is nothing in a romance that grinds my gears more than cheating. I don't find it romantic. I don't even care like if the hero cheated in the past and it's like years later and he's trying to redeem himself and he's trying to grovel. It just does not work for me. Romance is kind of like an escapism read, so I want things to be romantic. I want them to have happily ever after, and for me, it's really hard to get behind a cheating trope, whether it's the hero or the heroine. I really don't care. I don't even like it when they're in like an established relationship and they're fighting and the hero or the heroine go and like flirt with a coworker or like have a drunken night and like kiss a coworker. I don't want any of it. I don't want any of it. And like a lot of times too, cheating has a lot of like miscommunication, which is not a fun thing to read about in romance either. I want a couple that is just madly, deeply in love with each other, and I'm okay with like external plots and things coming in the way of the relationship and causing conflict. But if it really is just like the couple cheating on each other and not communicating with one another, I don't like it. I don't like it. I think I've been pretty clear on that. But I recently read a book that has all the things I usually don't like, and I loved it. I don't really think a lot of people like this trope either, but this book, I don't know, it just did it for me. So if you go into this book with an open mind, I feel like you might like it too. So this is The Good Girl by Shiloh Clark. This is a novella, and it's pretty steamy. It's pure smut, if I'm being completely honest. This was written by Jack Harbin. I think Shiloh Clark is his other pen name, and it is also available on Kindle Unlimited. So our heroine is actually engaged to be married. She's going to be getting married in a couple of weeks, and her boyfriend and her are going through a lot of trouble because her boyfriend has accrued a lot of gambling debt, and there are a lot of people kind of after them for the money, threatening for her for the money. Even though it's not her debt, she still feels responsible because a lot of people are threatening her and her boyfriend. So she decides that she really wants to go into their marriage debt free, and she ends up discovering the auction. And what this auction is that she is able to kind of sell her body to wealthy men and women for one night, and it will pay off her debt, and she'll just, you know, move along with her marriage. She actually does not tell her boyfriend that she's doing this, so it's not like they communicated this and he was okay with it. Like, this absolutely has a cheating trope in it. There's no way to get around it. She ends up meeting a wealthy gentleman that she has a pretty good chemistry with, and he finds out about her debt and agrees to help her, and they agree that she's going to spend some time with him the weeks leading up to the wedding. And that's the book. It has a little bit of an age gap. It also has a little bit of a zaddy kink if you're into that. I always used to say I was never into the zaddy kink, but this book, it worked. It worked, okay? I don't know. This book was the exception to the rule for me. I actually really did like this one. Only because, yes, her boyfriend was trash. Trash, trash, trash. Not that that made it okay that she cheated. Like, she could have easily ended the relationship. And I like that this book acknowledged that cheating was wrong and that she was making a lot of mistakes, but in the same token, she was just trying to find herself and do what she felt was right, like, in that moment. Like, it never normalized cheating, and our heroine definitely had consequences for, like, what she was doing. But I still really think it was just handled good, and I liked it, okay? I liked it. You know who recently did a video on books that have the cheating trope? Mary from More to Mary. She actually really likes this trope, and I love her channel. She talks about a lot of dark romances and mafia romances, and she doesn't mind a cheating trope, so I know there are definitely people who like this. We'll leave her video down below because she actually did a whole recommendation on books like this. So okay, another trope that, again, I don't think is a popular one in the romance community, and I'm definitely one of those who don't like it, and that is surprise pregnancy. Surprise baby, surprise pregnancy. I don't like it, okay? What's even more irritating is when you go into a book and you didn't know it was a surprise pregnancy. It just, like, ruins my day, okay? Like, know about it going into the book, I might enjoy it a little bit better, but the reason I don't like this trope, hear me out. Obviously, in real life, if you have a surprise pregnancy and it ends up being like the best thing ever, that's amazing, that's wonderful, but I'm talking about like romance books here, okay? Number one, I don't like the miscommunication, again, kind of with the cheating trope, when it comes to a surprise pregnancy. A lot of the times the heroine like chooses not to tell the hero that she's pregnant, and like you fast forward into like 10 years and it's like he discovers he had a child. I cannot stand that. I feel like whenever a baby is involved, they just need to be open and honest with each other, have better communication, and stop playing so many damn games. And I feel like when it comes to surprise pregnancy, it gets really catty and secretive, and I just don't like it. And also, I don't want to like offend anyone by saying this, because again, if this happened to you in real life, that's wonderful. This kind of like happened to my sister like in real life, and it was wonderful. I have the best nephew ever, but I just don't like it in romance books. And the couple barely knows each other and they're still kind of figuring out their own relationship, and then suddenly there's a baby involved and they're pregnant and they're kind of like forced to be with each other. I just don't really like reading about that. Like, I would rather read an established romance, and then if there are kids involved later down the line, that's fine. But I don't know, I just don't like it, and I feel like I'm offending some people by saying that. Like, I'm sorry. No, but that actually really was like my sister's romance story. Like, she and her boyfriend, they didn't know each other really long. They had a good chemistry. They just, you know, hit it off and had the best baby ever. So a surprise pregnancy worked for her. So if you had a surprise pregnancy and it worked for you, I'm happy for you. I really am. A surprise pregnancy. I don't even know where I'm going with this. I'm so freaking sorry. This is just like a chatty video. Anyways, a surprise pregnancy book that I actually really liked was Heartless by Daniel Allen. This is another novella, and I adore Daniel Allen. I think her writing is amazing, so I would recommend pretty much anything she writes. This follows our main character, Easy, who is basically a notorious player. He's known for not taking relationships serious. He has a lot of one-night stands, and he kind of like owns up to that fact. Like, he's definitely made it known that he's not a relationship type guy. He ends up meeting our heroine at a wedding and is instantly attracted to each other, but she is just not fooled by his games and kind of wants nothing to do with him. It isn't until years later that they kind of meet back up and end up hooking up that he gets a late night text message. Instead of like a late night booty call, it's basically an unknown number telling him that he got her pregnant, and he has to like backtrack and think of all the girls he slept with and who he got pregnant. He ends up finding out that it's our heroine, and they have to really work together to be co-parents, and also they start to form a romance. And I actually really like this one because, again, the communication was great. I feel like our heroine was just so amazing. The way that she kind of handled getting pregnant, she was really open and honest. They had good communication in this book, and I really liked their chemistry. So this is like the best surprise pregnancy book that I've read. So to be honest, actually this trope isn't too bad. I just hate it when I'm in a romance book and I didn't know it was surprise pregnancy and then boom, it hits me. Like, I don't like it to be a surprise. You know, I don't like surprises. I don't like surprises, okay? I want to know what's going on. I don't feel like it's a spoiler to know if a book has surprise pregnancy in it because, like, it could really hinder an enjoyment to the book if I don't know. Does that make sense? Okay, so the next trope that I do not like, typically, obviously there are some exceptions which we will talk about, and that is enemies to lovers. My favorite trope is friends to lovers. I like soft, sweet, fluffy romances. That's just my vibe. Really do like low angst books. So enemies to lovers usually has a lot of angst and a lot of our characters kind of like bickering with each other, and I don't like it. And I think also it depends, like, why are they enemies? Why do they hate each other so much? Like, normally I feel like when it comes to enemies to lovers, it's so freaking petty. So petty. I read one where the heroine didn't like our hero because they went to high school together and he was valedictorian and got better grades than her, and she was salutatorian, and they were like always competing with each other and their grades, and like that's why years later they didn't like each other. Like, that's so stupid. Like, honestly, get the freak over it. So flip side, if one of the characters did something like actually genuinely awful that would account to like the other hating them, what did they do? How bad was it? Because I don't want it to be so bad and so mean that I don't like that character. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm not making any sense. I'm so freaking tired. I have filmed like 3 videos today. I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's a difference between like banter and bickering versus just being absolutely petty. And I feel like a lot of times enemies to lovers just gets very redundant and it's petty and stupid. And I don't understand why the characters don't like each other. One that was an exception to the rule is The Hellion by Christy Caldwell. This is the first book in the Wicked Wallflower series. I've talked about this book a ton. It's available on Kindle Unlimited as well as the audiobooks, and I enjoy all of this series. This book follows Cleopatra and Adair, and they come from rival families. Kind of a Romeo and Juliet retelling, which I think is kind of like the best version of enemies to lovers. Basically, each family owns a gambling hell and they are rivals. They also have like a lot of things in their past that their families have done each other wrong. So our heroine Cleopatra ends up staying with Adair's family because they owe her family a favor, and she's staying with her family so that she can enter into her first season into London because her brother really wants her to like marry into the nobility. Adair does not trust her as far as he can throw her. He basically like self-appoints himself and becomes her bodyguard to watch her and make sure she doesn't get into any trouble, and it follows their romance. Our heroine was so spicy. She was so hilarious. I absolutely adored her, and Adair was very stubborn, but they definitely fell for each other, and it wasn't petty. Like, the reasons that they didn't like each other made sense. Cleopatra's father really did some horrible things to Adair's family, so it kind of just was like they had a legitimate reason to be enemies, but they kind of set their differences aside and allowed themselves to fall for each other, which was a beautiful romance. So yeah, I really did like this one. Piggybacking off on enemies to lovers, a romance trope that I despise is a bully romance. No thank you, ma'am. No thank you. I don't want anyone bullying anyone, okay? That is like, if there's one thing I can't stand, it's a bully. And I don't think like that's romantic if like our hero is like shoving our heroine into lockers or like bullying her because he thinks it's a cool thing to do and is being pressured by his friends. Like, I'm sorry, babes, that's not romantic. I don't care if it's a dark romance, like, no. Everything is a personal preference, right? Like, I like soft, sweet romances. A bully romance is not that, babe. Like, it's the exact opposite of that. And again, I feel like it's petty. I feel like we're all grown adults. Well, I mean, I guess if we're reading a YA, we're not grown adults, but I feel like we're old enough not to be making these stupid decisions, okay? Like, no, I don't I don't need these games, okay? I don't play any games when it comes to my romance. Our hero does not need to be bullying our heroine. And on the flip side, I don't like a heroine that, you know, is real big and bold and like hits our hero. That is a pet peeve. When our heroine kind of like throws a tantrum and hits our hero, like puts physical hands on him. Ooh, that drives me crazy. My bully romance, literally the only bully romance that I can say that I enjoyed was Breaking the Bully by Jessica Kane. This is a short, steamy novella. So basically, it does follow younger characters, but I think they're both 18, 19. I think they're of legal age and everything's consensual and they are the same age. Anyways, it follows these characters who kind of had a really like special, sweet moment where they were connected with each other and they thought like there was like a mutual attraction with one another, but our heroine kind of like gives the hero the cold shoulder. The reason she does that is because she comes from a very strict family. Her father is verbally and physically abusive and does not approve of her being in a relationship. Doesn't really tell him that, so he makes the assumption that she is rejecting him because he comes from a different class than her. He doesn't come from a lot of money and her father's really rich, so he thinks that she thinks she's better than him. I feel like that was a tongue twister. Because of that, he bullies her, but once he finds out the real reason and what she's going through, not only does he kind of like save and protect her, he absolutely grovels and apologizes for everything that he did and really kind of just like worships her, and I love it. I loved it. Only a bully romance that I've ever liked. I cannot imagine liking anymore because it's just not cute. Like, it's not fun, it's not cute, and I don't like when heroes are mean. Like, I'm a soft bitch, okay? Like, that is the perfect way to describe me. I may read some steamy scenes, I may read some dark romances, but like if our hero is genuinely mean, it kind of like hurts my heart a little bit. Okay, so the last trope or thing in romance that I don't like are novellas that are uncompleted or novellas that really should have been a full-length novel. I feel like the point of a novella is to be short, steamy, and complete. Like, we want all of the romance and the steam, but just like pack it in like a cute little 80-page package, okay? I cannot stand when an author releases a bunch of novellas like as a series and each one ends in a cliffhanger. Like, at that point you could have just wrote a full-length book. You could have just given us the whole story in one book. Like, I don't think novellas need to be series. They should be standalones. They should be complete works in themselves. Anyways, an example of this that actually was really, really good and I didn't mind it was the Bloodline vampire series by Katie Roberts. This is a vampire romance series. Our heroine is the daughter of a pretty powerful bloodline vampire, and she quite literally gets sacrificed to another bloodline vampire, kind of notorious for not having that great of control. And this is a reverse harem, so it follows her romance with 3 vampires as she's kind of like coming into her powers and finding out the truth about her family. And every single one of these books ends in a cliffhanger, but what I don't mind about it is that it is told in the beginning of the book that it is a cliffhanger, so you know going into the book. And Katie Roberts is like the fastest writer ever. She produces so many books throughout the year that I'm like, okay, I don't have to wait that long to finish the series. Although this one is currently uncompleted, the last one comes out really soon. I think it's like in December or something. So in this one, I don't mind it. But it is kind of frustrating when you're reading a novella and it really could have been like a full-length novel, because I kind of feel like all 3 of these books could have just been like put into one book. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And it would have been better, but I mean, it's okay. I love Katie Roberts. I love her writing. I love her to pieces. But it irks me sometimes when a novella like ends in cliffhangers. I guess in general, I don't like any cliffhangers in books. Honestly, I feel like I'm just blabbing at this point, but those are some things that I don't like in romance novellas, and this is the last video for Trope Week. I hope you guys enjoyed these videos so far. Let me know if you agree with any of these tropes and if you don't like them as well. If you do like them, feel free to drop some recommendations. Prove me wrong. I mean, obviously I'm always open to reading different things and there are exceptions to the rule. So if you guys enjoyed this week of videos, I worked really hard on all the videos, so I really hope you found some good recommendations. I'm gonna take a little break now, probably gonna be a couple more days before I film, but as always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you next time.